Welcome back to the Shelf Sisters. How the hell are ya?
I knew that was coming. I am thoroughly traumatized from our January book club pick. But happy 2025, you guys. It is officially January book club. We're recording The Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. We hope that you were reading along with us.
It was a doozy. I'm literally so traumatized too. I was like coming to Sarish's house and I live in an apartment. My car was in the garage. And literally no one was there, okay? I was being just probably so dramatic, but I was looking over my shoulder, just turning everywhere, like running to my car, got in, locked it, like still looking around. I'm literally so freaked out and
I think you're okay to do that because there's some parts in the book where they literally have garage scenes like that.
As soon as I was reading those garage scenes, I knew that I would, and by the way, I'm already paranoid, okay? So me reading that and then going in my garage, I literally can't. Like, I will be valeting my car today because there's no way I can park after.
No, and I felt vindicated because everyone asked me like why I'm so scared of garages. I just like have a fear. I say it's claustrophobia. But no, it's because I'm a woman and I'm just scared,
creepy.
Okay? They're so creepy.
No matter how well lit they are, it's because you can't see like the outside and the way that I think we're getting into the weeds of it. You know, if you didn't read the book, there was a garage scene and it was lit. My heart was pounding.
I think our heart the entire book was like pounding. I was like, when am I going to get a break? And we did not get a break, so
we did it. My heart was pounding and my brain was going with a lot of thoughts.
So a lot of theories, thoughts, opinions. We have lots to share with you guys.
I think, should we get into the summary? Before we like just say even more and get into it, I think let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Wait, really quickly, actually, I just had a thought. I feel like there's a lot of new listeners probably because it's maybe some people's New Year's resolutions to read more.
And we have been hearing that there are new listeners.
Yes, especially because of our last episode with Blake Lively and what's his name?
Justin
Baldoni.
Okay.
No, okay. Wait. The fact that I just forgot his name,
you think he's so irrelevant?
Yeah. So
you're literally the only one.
I know.
We posted a TikTok
and
it was
roasted in the comments. Roasted.
It was so funny. So in the clip that we posted on TikTok on Shelf Sisters on TikTok, Sarish was saying we were talking about how Justin Baldoni asked for Blake Lively's weight because he has a back injury and can't lift, over a certain amount. And Sarah was saying, well, as like a postpartum mom and, whatever. And I was saying, literally no one cares. You're an actress in Hollywood. You know what you signed up for. And it was just like a discussion that we were having. I didn't think it was anything serious. And in the comments, people were literally like, okay, well, you'll break his back then. Like, they were being so crazy.
Also, there was a comment that said, you girls are too old to be talking like this. I'm sorry.
I can't believe you just brought that up because I just erased it from my memory.
No, I took a screenshot because I was like, how are people this psycho? I never post on TikTok. Like, Shelf Sisters TikTok is like where I guess I'm seen. I don't know, on TikTok. And so when we were getting these like flooded by comments and all against me, of course, like that's fine. I was like, we're relevant now. Like, it's okay,
At least people are engaged. At least they're engaging. But I feel like there needs to be people on Blake Lively's side, or else like I would just feel so bad for her. So
you know what?
Now that like she has you on her side.
No, the clip only showed like me on her side, but on our podcast episode, I made it explicitly clear she is also in the wrong in this in some parts. Like, I do not doubt that she is a diva. She's hard to work with. I doubt none of that. I was just saying, in those instances and some of the claims, he just seemed to be manipulating the situation, and that is all, guys. Yeah. But it's okay. Roast me in the comments all you want. It's okay. I'll be okay with it.
It wasn't. I don't know.
No, it's okay.
It was crazy,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
It's fine.
So yes, to all of the new listeners, my name is Sarish.
I'm Sonia. We are sisters.
We are actually sisters.
Yeah. That's literally the actual intro of, like, if they're just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
But on YouTube, it's not that.
Yeah,
so
but
if you're on YouTube, you see that, like, we kind of look alike.
Yeah. No, I was saying because we have like a little music intro, on Spotify or podcast.
Yes.
Spotify and Apple. So if they listen to that, they know that we're biological sisters. But yeah, we love to read. We decided to make this podcast because I honestly don't know of that many book podcasts. I only know of one, and they come out once a month, and I'm always like, you guys, like,
we gotta churn through this content. Yes.
But yeah, we're so excited, and we really go based off of like the environment of each year. It's like seasonal, really. We're
seasonal readers. We just go off the vibes. But to be fair, we're like, we should probably listen to our listeners and give them the opportunity to kind of give us their votes and what they're vibing with at the time. So in December, we put out a little poll on our Instagram to ask what everyone wanted from our first book of 2025. And overwhelming responses, I think it was 60+% said mystery and thriller. And oh my gosh, we deliver.
We delivered, and I think that
I apologize for how hard we delivered, okay?
Literally, like,
I apologize. I'm sorry if now you're scared walking into garages, if you're turning at every, like, door creak, because that's what I'm doing. So we apologize for that, but it was such a good book for a book club. And to discuss.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we get into it? I like literally have so much to say, but I'm just trying to not.
That was like 8 minutes of us saying how traumatized that we are by this book. So hopefully you haven't stopped listening, because we're gonna make this fun regardless of how scary, mysterious, thrilling this book was. So.
Okay, do you want to?
Yeah.
So we're going to read the Goodreads summary and then just tack on some details that we think you guys should know before
that are also
we continue. Yeah. Okay. Just in case, like, you're listening just for fun and didn't read the book, or if you read it a while ago and need, like, a refresher.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so for the Goodreads summary of Local Woman Missing, people don't just disappear without a trace. Shelby Tebow is the first to go missing not long after Meredith Dickey and her 6-year-old daughter, Delilah, vanished just blocks away from where Shelby was last seen, striking fear into the once peaceful community. Now, 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns. Everyone wants to know what happened to her, but no one is prepared for what they'll find.
Okay, that was the Goodreads summary. And then so first we wanted to just mention, within the book, there's 3 different POVs. It's Kate, Leo, and Delilah. And Leo and Delilah are siblings. Delilah is one of the people that went missing, and then Kate is one of, like, the neighbors. And the chapters range from the present to when, like, Delilah returns, and then 11 years ago when all of the disappearances and mysteries took place. And then there's a few other characters to note, right? There's Josh, who is Meredith's husband.
And the dad of Delilah, the girl who went missing.
Yes. And then B, who is Kate's wife. Cassandra, who was Meredith's friend and neighbor. And then Shelby also had a husband and then a newborn. And just in case, like, you missed it in the Goodreads summary, the 3 people that went missing are Meredith, Delilah, and Delilah is Meredith's daughter. She was 6 years old when she went missing. And then Shelby.
She was the first to disappear in this town. And I think to say that the town is also kind of like a character in this book, it's a suburban town just outside of Chicago where apparently it just rains like every other day. I don't understand it. And apparently we also just pick books that are... It's always raining. It's always
which I love.
Thunder.
I love the rain,
oh
even
my gosh,
like
yes.
in real life, like not just in books. If it's sunny, I don't want to be out. If it's raining, I want to do everything. That's just me.
Yeah, I don't vibe with that. But
yeah, Sarah doesn't agree. But in this book, I was like, oh my god, like let them find freaking clue. Get rid of this rain. It was like washing away the blood.
Yeah, we need peace for one day. So that is also like a character in this book. I think they mention it like every single chapter.
Yeah.
So just to know.
Yeah, and then all of the characters mentioned, they live within the same community. Some of them live on like the same street. Shelby lived just like a few blocks over. So they're in the same vicinity and know each other, or at least know of each other, or like work together.
Yeah, and their kids kind of like go to the same school, so everyone's like walking each other's kids to school. There's like one babysitter that everyone kind of just like uses for after school activities.
Yeah.
So it's like a very suburban town.
It was so funny. They kept saying during the book that like nothing ever happens here. The crime rate is 0. And then literally 3 people go missing within a span of 10 days. And they talk about like so much other stuff that goes on, which was crazy to me. But anyway, so
for a second, it kind of reminded me of like Wisteria Lane in Desperate Housewives. Like that is what my thought went to like at first whenever they were setting the scene, and then of course it, you know,
like drama between the women.
Yes.
And then bam, there's a murder.
Yeah.
But first, Shelby is the one. So Shelby actually leaves her newborn and husband at home at 10 p.m. She told her husband, "I'm going jogging, peace out," and never returns. And then just a few days later, Meredith and her daughter, 6-year-old daughter, Delilah, go missing. So it's within a span of a few days. There's theories as to, like, could this be connected? And there was, like, a doctor within the theory.
I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and spoil the ending for you guys. So the first disappearance happens with Shelby going missing because she was out on a run. At least that's what she told her husband.
That's what she told her husband. And turns out she was psycho and was going to meet... I was thinking about this. She was going to meet someone she was cheating on her husband with, her lover. What is the word for a male mistress? Is there one? If not, there needs to be one.
There needs to be one. That is so true. And it's
like mistress, like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There needs to be a word. And that's what he was. And she was going to meet up with this guy and hook up with him like in his car. And she was down tying her shoelaces, and they like leave you off, you know, that cliffhanger. And then later you find out that B and Meredith, they were out on the town drinking, you know, having a little girls' night, and went home drunk, drinking and driving. And you know, nothing good happens when you drink and drive. And that's what they did. And they were going way too fast. And what had happened was Shelby was tying her shoelaces while running to her lover's car. And B and Meredith came cruising down.
B was driving.
And she hit Shelby, and B was the one that killed Shelby. And Meredith was shooketh that they had just killed someone. She wanted to call the cops, and she obviously felt really guilty. She was like, does she have a pulse? Like, we can help her. Let's, you know, call an ambulance. And B said, she's dead. We need to bury her. You're not going to tell anyone. You're not going to tell the cops. You're not going to tell your husband.
Yeah, and that's also when we find out that Meredith was actually Shelby's doula. So a little bit ago, I think it was just months at this point, where she had helped...
6 weeks.
6 weeks, weeks. She had helped Shelby deliver her baby in the hospital. And now that she's seeing her, she's now dead. And she's an accomplice in this murder, and ends up burying Shelby's body with B.
But B had made her, like they said in the book, she really didn't want to do it, but B held all the power. She had the keys. She wouldn't let Meredith go. And so that's how the first murder happened. And then as time went on, Meredith was really grief-stricken. She wanted to go to the police and told B that. And that is when B ends up murdering Meredith in front of her 6-year-old daughter. And that was just so crazy. So
I did not see that one coming at all.
And then Meredith, you know, B had killed her, and because her daughter saw, she was 6 years old, so she's not an adult, but she knew exactly what she saw. And
she knew B. Like, B was one of her neighbors. She took care of her, babysat her all the time. So she understood who
this woman was, what she was doing
and what
to her
was
mom.
happening.
Yeah. And B didn't want to kill Delilah, and so instead she kept her hostage in isolation for 11 years in her soundproof detached garage without her wife, Kate, knowing. And also, Shelby, her husband, went to jail because B ended up framing him for the murder. She took off Shelby's bloody clothes and put them behind her husband's workplace.
Work dumpster, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So framed it on him, and he was in jail for 11 years for her murder. And that was...
And they never said what happened to her baby, because her baby was only 6 weeks old, so I don't know who got the baby. So
yeah, and then
lots
also...
of untied, theories, storylines.
And B had made Meredith's murder look like a suicide, and the autopsy also said suicide. So, no one was expecting that, B killed not only one person, but 2 people within the neighborhood. So
and then held one person captive for 11 years. So she wreaked havoc on people's lives, just trying to cover up her first crime and not go to jail for her one crime, where in turn she ruined people's lives for 11 plus years. So that's kind of where we ended up in the book. I mean, there's so many notes that the author has, questions that she has for the readers. It's like a little reader's guide. And then we also asked the readers on our Instagram, the listeners of the podcast, what questions, theories they have, and some of the responses were great. So we're going to go through those. And then, of course, Sonia.
The Hollywood section. I'm so excited. Serge was like, do we need to do it?
She reminded me we had to do it, and I was like, oh no, okay, so I'll be Googling all the actors now. So we'll go through that.
I feel like I'm an expert, honestly. And
I think you get very specific with your searches, and that really helps.
Of course. The vibe, I got it down pat. But before, tell me your overall thoughts. Not the rating. This time I'm going to do the rating at the end.
Okay.
But just tell me your overall thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not?
Okay, I'll start off. I knew that it was going to be a thriller. I did not realize how thrilling it would be. I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for the heart palpitations, literally any creak that happened in my home, I freaked out. When I was finishing this book, I actually woke up at 4 a.m. and so I was wide awake. I was like, let me just read this book. Worst idea. I was reading from 4 to 5:45 a.m. I think, and at 5:45 I hear my alarm ding, and it was an Amazon package being delivered. First of all, who does that at 5:45 a.m.? And then second, this is where I am traumatized and I will no longer be okay. So after this, I will definitely need the palette cleanser of all palette cleansers. So the Hating Game.
Literally?
No, literally.
Oh my God.
The stupider the book, the better is what I need after this one.
You're taking the words out of my mouth, literally.
Perfect. I mean, I'm so glad that you agree. It was wild. I feel like we literally could not catch a break. I couldn't breathe for some of the chapters.
It was a lot, yeah.
I was holding my breath. I physically need to be roll your shoulders back, stop clenching your jaw, making fists with your palms. That's how chaotic I felt. And then my heart just wouldn't stop pounding, and that was some of the responses that we received from the listeners. So all of that just validated my feelings towards the book, but a really, really, really great thriller. And I think what a way to start off 2025. I know this book is old. It went viral on TikTok a while ago, but we still picked it because of the intrigue that we had never read it and so many people loved it. So I'm glad that we picked it. Overall, I really, really liked it. I will give my rating at the end of the book, but I have a lot of thoughts about some of the loopholes and why we literally couldn't catch a break in the 6-hour book read. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, I was totally on board with you until you said really, really great thriller. That's where we stopped. Okay.
That's where we stopped. Okay.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
At first, literally within 2% of it, I was like, this book is not for me. And I thought when Delilah was captive and you had those chapters, they were so atrocious in nature. Just hearing about how she had to survive. I don't even want to say the things that the author said, honestly. not being fed or given water, and it was just so
It was
bad.
too much.
And this was my thought. So I love a thriller. Okay, but usually whenever you read a thriller, the person dies, and that's like one passage of the book, right? And it's like a gunshot or like a strangulation, you know, something like that. This one, I absolutely loathe a book where someone is being held captive.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to read it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know those details. And so as soon as that happened, I really thought it would be like the prologue, like really quick, and then we move past it. So I was like, okay, if this is for like 5 pages, I'll handle it. No, it was literally for multiple chapters until she escaped. And the things that she was saying in those chapters, my eyes had to skim it and almost skip it altogether because it was so disgusting and egregious, and I could not handle it. So automatically hated the book, okay? And then time went on, and towards the end, I really ended up liking it. I really wanted to know what happened, like what was the twist. But I realized a lot of the twists I had predicted. And so, like, for example, Gus, Delilah's imaginary friend, I knew he was imaginary. Like, as soon as, like, that first chapter, I knew he was imaginary.
Wait, I'm sorry. I literally just got chills. How did you know
because
he was imaginary?
Because the...
Stop. I literally have chills.
Oh,
my face is chilling.
Because she got the plate of food, and she said...
And he wouldn't eat?
She said, every time I ask him, he never wants it. And it's like, okay... You're in there for 11 years. Like, you have to be, you know, eating something. You can't just, like, disregard all the food that's given to you. And then whenever she was making the weapon with, like, the toilet thing, and Gus, like, wouldn't go, I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way he's imaginary. Like, he's not going because he's not real, and that's why she was, like, stuck in that situation. And I just knew it until... When they escaped and she said, I grabbed his hand and told him to run, that's when I was like, what? Like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But then whenever, after the hypnosis, she was like, oh, no, he was in my brain. I was like, I knew it. Like, I'm so smart. And then as soon as they said B and Meredith were like drinking.
Yes, that's... Yeah.
I knew they drank too much. They drink and drove, and they hit Shelby.
Yeah.
I knew that part as well.
Yeah.
And then whenever they got to the soundproofing of the garage, the detached garage, and they said like it's soundproof because of B's music, I knew someone was there.
So, did you know that at the very beginning where...
I knew someone was going to be found there. And I had a feeling it would be like Delilah or someone. But then Delilah was found, but I was like, someone... It's going to be like Meredith or Shelby, or like someone is going to end up being in the soundproof detached garage.
Okay, are you like reading so many thriller books these days that you're
just picking up on these hints?
Yes, like you're freaking me out, or you're watching like scary movies. Like, what is happening?
I stopped true crime a long time ago.
No, I can't. Okay.
And oh my god, like what else did I predict? Oh, I knew it. Obviously, it wasn't a suicide.
Oh yes,
I knew that one was like duh. But there's just like a lot of things that I guessed, and obviously Shelby's husband like didn't do it. Like that would be so easy.
Yeah.
You know?
No, exactly.
But and then just also, I don't know, crazy things where it's like Shelby saying, like he's not my first lover and he won't be the last. Okay,
Cringe.
Like you literally had a kid 6 weeks ago. Chill out, girl.
Okay, but then they also made them seem like a couple that she was 20 years old, Shelby.
She was young,
and
but like
her husband was like 22. Just he was supposed to go to the NFL or something.
Yeah,
and that did not pan out.
You said 32, right?
Oh, he was 32.
Yeah, he was older.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I highlighted some things just because of the writing. Like, I just wanted to see if you felt the same way.
No, I highlighted so much in this thriller because I was like, I need to make sure that I'm catching every single detail of what's happening.
We highlighted for different reasons because that's why you were highlighting. I was highlighting to just read on the podcast like how much I didn't love the writing. It was like really weird. Okay, so it was just really short sentences. Okay.
Go for it.
This one, it's like so weird. Okay. Josh is looking at me. He's incredibly handsome. Josh has always been incredibly handsome. He's dapper. His suit is slim-fitting, navy. He has many suits. While other men collect cigars or license plates, Josh collects suits. Some are tailor-made and others off the rack. He's always trying to impress. What? Like, the way she was writing, I was just like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be reading a novel or like, is this her writing?
I think that was honestly just her way of like giving us a break to be like, these people are normal. They are.
But like, why?
I don't know why.
Write in like regular sentences. Why do you just he's dapper is a sentence. His suit is slim fitting navy. That writing style is not for me. And I said in the last episode that I read one of her other books, Just the Nicest Couple. I don't remember her writing being like this, and
I don't think she did that for a lot of the characters. I think it was mainly...
Serge, it was for everyone. I have highlights for everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For everyone.
So maybe that's something that doesn't bother me, but bothered you.
Yeah, I just thought, like, it could have been better. But yeah, overall, honestly, I didn't love it. Like, towards the end, I got into it because I wanted peace for Josh, honestly. Like, I just thought he was literally the best husband and father, like, someone could ask for. And that was one of the reasons why I did not like the book, because this precious person has this life. Yes. I really couldn't handle it.
And that's why I wanted to get to the end of the book so badly, because I just wanted to know what was in store for Josh. Does he actually get like a peaceful ending, or is he just going to be in like agony for the rest of his life? Yeah,
so I'm glad to hear that you liked it. And then I was also thinking, honestly, we've picked such great picks. Sorry for the last, 5 months or something. We were bound to have a book that I didn't like, or that one of us didn't like.
That is true. So you did not like it?
I enjoyed it more towards the end, but like overall, this is really not a thriller for me. Like,
it was too much. Like,
it was way too much.
It was like gory. Like, and then it was the start of it that was gory.
Can I just?
You can say it.
Okay, I'm just gonna say something, and maybe if you didn't read the book and you're listening just for fun, like, you'll get why I really could not stand it. So while Delilah was held captive, she, like I said, like, wasn't given water or food or something, and she literally resorted to like drinking out of the toilet. Like, I don't want to know those things.
I did not want to.
I don't. Yeah. Just tell me this person
and
was
also
shot.
To preface this really quickly, the Delilah that we read about at the beginning of
I was just about to say this.
Okay, was actually not the Delilah that we met at the end of the book that Bea was keeping captive in her soundproof garage. The Delilah that we heard about was actually
whose POV it was.
Yes.
She ended up being another girl that was kidnapped.
And she was kidnapped by this couple who wanted to mirror Delilah's disappearance.
They're called copycat criminals.
That is that like an actual thing?
World. Yeah, copycat criminals. So like Ted Bundy, let's say, like there's copycat Ted Bundy's because they want the notoriety.
That is so scary to think about. No, I can't think.
But it's like a real thing.
Okay, so I'm extremely ready for my
I
really
cannot
fun
wait for you
book.
to read The Hating Game.
I can't think about this anymore. Okay, so
when I finished this book, I literally was like, tonight. I'm so glad that like we didn't put off the recording, because tonight I am going to be reading literally the dumbest book that I can find. Okay, Christina Lauren, I'm coming for you. Anna Wong, I'm coming for you. I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait.
Hating
Game. A guy on the cover just like smoldering. Like, that's what I'm gonna be reading. Okay.
Shaquille's gonna get the email and be like, Sonia just finished.
Sonia
this hockey romance.
Fucking for life. I can't wait.
I already have the hating game like queued up in my Kindle Unlimited because I waited to like get rid of Kindle Unlimited until after this month.
Oh,
and then it's going away because I don't read anything on Kindle Unlimited.
I actually had like dinner with some friends and they like saw my review and they were really excited to read the hating game. And I'm just
Sadia is single-handedly like keeping romance books,
like 5-year-olds romance books.
Yeah,
giving them like, and I'm just like so happy.
You're giving them so much clout, and I think it's good though. I think sometimes you just need to read something fun out of the ordinary, out of your life.
But just books that like went viral and were very well received like years ago, and just bringing them back because now it's like it wasn't for not like. There are other people that haven't read them and I'm like bringing them back to the surface, you know? So I feel good. I think we need that, like a new name for that segment. So if anyone has recommendations besides like Sonia's Stupidity Corner or something, like let us know.
No, that is not the game. That's not the name. Yeah. I think, we'll think of something.
We'll figure it out.
Let's go through the reader's guide and the questions that we got from the listeners because I think they were really good ones.
Yeah.
That we had.
Okay, so actually the author had discussion questions for this book, which is so helpful. So we're not like just Googling things and finding stuff on the internet.
Or creating our own that never really pan out.
Literally. Okay, the first one. Whose POV did you appreciate or connect with more? Kate, Meredith, or Leo?
Do you want to answer this one first? I feel like you have a strong choice.
Okay, first of all, Meredith or Leo did not like theirs. I thought Meredith was, I'm just going to say, like, incredibly dumb. Your husband is literally perfection, and you don't want to tell him when you're getting threatening texts. Like, that was so crazy.
Meredith's stupidity, that entire book, to say, I'm going to go teach yoga as a job and also be a doula and now leave my 2 kids at home. Like,
and her whole thing didn't make sense to me because they said in the book, like, her husband is so well off, like, she doesn't need to work. And I'm not saying, like, just quit working.
Exactly.
But you can lower your patience from, like, because she literally said, next month I have 8. Okay, maybe take 1 a month. Like, what's wrong with you? And
also be very selective with the people that you choose as your clients. Like,
she's bringing drama into her life.
Where she
I hate people like that.
Exactly. And also, she saw the warning signs from Shelby pretty early on. She hadn't even deposited the check that she got. She literally could have ripped that apart and sent her a text and said, actually, I have too much on my plate at this point. I will not be able to do this. I hope that you find someone. Here's a referral.
Yeah.
Literally.
And all of her problems, like the text, the Shelby thing, she could have taken any of her problems to her husband and he would have solved them for her or helped her throughout the entire process. Like, okay, take the check back. I'll come with you. If anything happens, like, I'll take care of it. There was a point
where she said she didn't want to take Ubers or cabs from the hospital. She deliberately wanted to. There's hospitals in sketchy parts of town. With Chicago, there's some sketchy parts of town that she would have to park, and it was a detached garage. And in the middle of the night, labors are happening at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You don't know.
Leaving, like,
she's literally leaving
that time
and going on the street in the dark in the middle of some suburban Chicago, and she has no one there with her. There's no foot traffic. There's no car traffic.
Also,
she's just out there.
So remember, her husband made her download that app, like the Find
Your
Friends or whatever. And she, like, felt really weird about it. And he's, like, literally concerned for your safety, girl. Like, do you want him to not love you? It was so weird to me. Everything she did.
Bothered me a lot.
And by the way, at the end of the book, we didn't even get an answer as to why she didn't tell her husband about the threatening messages. And at that point, like, she hadn't done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. And so, like, why don't you just tell your husband that... Like,
and it was such a misunderstanding too. Like, we found out that the messages were coming from Cassandra, who is like her actual neighbor, because her husband and Meredith dated in college, and Cassandra found out about it.
They didn't tell their
spouses, but Cassandra found like photos, and then found out that like she got pregnant at some point in college, and then yeah. So But also Cassandra, psycho, to send like burner phone text messages.
Yeah, that is psycho. But I literally like
Meredith
if I had
on.
That is the worst kind of person. Like, you are making your life miserable for what? You could have told your husband about any single problem you were having, and he would have helped you with it. And that, like, honestly, I can't stand that kind of person.
And then
just,
when it's, like,
work
affecting,
less.
no.
Like, what's your problem?
Or just be selective, even if you didn't
That's
want to.
what I'm saying.
Just be selective.
Choose a handful of
yes.
people. You can still do yoga. You can still be a doula. But instead of, like, 50 patients a year, take 20. It's not that hard, okay? And then Leo, like, I know he's a teenager and in high school, but he was, like, really mean to this girl that was being held captive for 11 years and getting mad at her for, like, making up Gus. Like, her brain isn't right. She didn't see sunlight for 11 years. Like, who are you to say anything to her? So,
no, his POV, like, bothered me so much, but then towards the end, you can kind of see, like, how his mind is.
Yeah, it did.
So, he was just bullied in school. Yeah. He warmed up to this girl that was not his sister.
And made sure, like, they called her by her name and not, like, this girl.
Exactly.
Kate is the only one I don't really, like, remember. I think she was just, like, even-keeled, like, trying to help in any way she could.
One thing that not bothered me about Kate, I was just curious. She's a vet. She has a private practice, and she, like, does surgeries at other animal hospitals. How does this woman have so much time to take off, cancel surgeries in the morning, and cancel all her patients to go on a search for her neighbors?
Well, she said that she was, like, taking a day off, so I think that meant there were other vets in the practice that could, like, take over her stuff. If it was like an emergency.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think. But
it didn't track for me. But
hers was very, like, subdued. Like, nothing much happened in hers, I feel.
Yes, but also, like, we understood the backstory from her, so she did a really good job of, like, creating the environment and then, like, kind of going through people's, like, emotions at the time and just kind of being very observant on everybody. And I liked her for that.
She wasn't involved in any of, like, the crimes
aside from, like,
Meredith, and
being so oblivious to her wife keeping someone captive.
We'll get
for
to
11 years. Yeah. She was fine.
Okay, I just realized the next question, we already talked about it, but I'll just say it. Meredith tries to find that work-life balance while having two young children and a very unpredictable schedule as a doula. How do you feel about Meredith as a mother and how she raises her children? I will say she was a good mother, and I thought she was raising her kids very well. That was not what I had a problem with. It was the work-life balance where literally, like, you don't need to stress yourself out with all of this stuff and, like, have your husband and yourself be worried for your own safety. You can take a step back and still do everything that you want, but just at a lower level where everything is, like, not harming your family life.
Yeah, we're not saying that you shouldn't follow this passion that you have to, like, help women in a state where, like, there really is no one else that's advocating for them during the delivery process. So she really had this passion for that. Perfect. Be selective. Lower the scale of your client, the business that you have.
Yeah.
Because you know that it's dangerous and you know that it's coming between your kids, your family life, and you don't need it to come in between that life. And then if you enjoy yoga, teach yoga at normal business hours when your kids are in school. Great. Yeah. None of that should interfere with the life you have that's so comfortable, loving, with a husband that is so attentive, so loving.
Let's go to her husband. How do you feel about Josh as a husband and father? Did you ever consider him to be a suspect in the disappearances? Which characters did you consider to be suspects?
Literally top tier husband, father.
Perfection.
Like, how you can't complain.
If the author made him involved, like Shelby's, in anything,
I know that would have been.
I would have been, like, heartbroken, but I was so happy that at the end of the book he got his, like, happily ever after, you know, with his 2 kids, and so I was so happy for him. But I did not, like, expect him to be doing, like, anything wrong. I didn't think he was a part of it at all, and I think that's why, like, for the other stuff, the author, like, gave clues. Like, soundproof garage and things like that.
There was like little points in the book where you were like, okay, that is a little questioning, but I'm not going to question it just yet. There's nothing for him.
No.
He goes to like ball games and like he's having a good time. He's in sales. He's just very personable. Everyone likes him. And so at that point where I was like, okay, maybe he's just like too personable. Like, I don't know. But even then, like there was no red flags.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so, top tier husband, father, and proved to be that till the very end.
And then the second part of the question is actually one of the listener questions, so we'll just leave it for that.
Okay.
Keeping secrets from friends and loved ones is a recurring theme in this book. Have you discovered something surprising or even shocking about a friend, family member, or neighbor that made you see them in a different light? Actually, I just have something that popped into my brain.
Okay.
So my husband his family lives in like a very nice neighborhood. It's
suburban,
nice suburban neighborhood. It's like in the back of a different neighborhood. It's like gated and nothing ever happens there.
I know it's coming. Okay.
Very calm. Like literally the most they say is like, you're speeding too much, you know? And one day, all of a sudden, he hears from, I think his parents or his siblings or someone, there was a SWAT team that went inside the house that was basically across the street from them. And turns out that guy that was living there, I think was selling like drugs and guns or like something like that to where the government came. And you know his neighborhood.
Stop it.
Nothing happens there. It's like Desperate Housewives where you don't suspect anything and that happens. And now that I'm saying that, I just remembered something else. When I was living in Plano, which is like a suburb of Dallas,
another suburb where really nothing happens.
Yeah. I lived in this apartment and Shaquille was downstairs. He was like, come down. We were like going to dinner. So I got ready. I'm locking my door and I look to the left and I see a bunch of SWAT team members, whatever, lined up outside of this apartment door and they're all crouched down. So like the peephole doesn't show them. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
There's like 15 of them and I'm frozen and I have to get past them to go to the elevator, but in between us there's a stairwell. But like I was just frozen.
Did they look at you and ask you like what to do?
Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, shocked, still as a statue. And then all of a sudden, and by the way, they have guns. All of a sudden, one of the male officers goes like this. And if you're not watching on YouTube, he lifts his finger to his mouth and basically tells me to shush. Like, don't make a peep. And I ran out of the stairwell that was in between us, so I didn't have to go past them. Ran down to the car and I'm just like freaking out, like what's happening? And then like days after, I Google it, nothing shows up. Go to the leasing office, nothing shows up.
They didn't send you any messages to say like, because you're on the floor that it's happening.
Nothing. I was not told a single thing, and I know the leasing office has to know what happened, right?
It's a SWAT team, and they're like with guns in an apartment that, okay, wow.
And so I never found out what happened.
Sonia, you also have a story from when you were at UT Austin and the local homeless man.
Oh my god.
You
guys, my life. What's happening?
This is why she like understands thriller books and she could like guess what was happening clearly. So you have to tell the story. This was
the summer.
Shooketh. Yes.
Yeah. This. So I was in college. I went to UT Austin, and there was a summer where I was taking summer classes, and there was a specific way that I went from my apartment to this specific class.
Yes. And
I took that way like every single day. And there's like homeless people, if you know, at UT Austin, there's certain homeless people that you recognize like the face of, you pass them all the time. Yeah. And so there was one that I saw every single day. didn't think anything of it. Like, he never approached me or said anything. And then all of a sudden that summer, I remember I was literally in class and I got an email. I pulled it up and it had a picture of that homeless man saying, if you see him, be aware, do not go near, go the opposite way. He was arrested for running after a female student with a knife. And he got arrested, but over there, like, they have such a problem, they're let out within days. And days later, he was back on campus. And we were just told, like, be aware of him. Like, that's all they could do.
And this was the summer, like, right after you graduated, right?
No, I was, like, a student. I was living there.
Oh, my God.
It was, I want to say, like, probably my sophomore year, summer or something. But I just, like, literally would pass him, like, just a few feet away from him every day, and then found that out. Lots of crazy things. I'm sure
lots
if I keep
of
thinking,
crazy things.
like,
There's gonna be
I'll
more.
remember more.
But now that I'm, like, thinking about it, I don't think I've had, like, any of that really happen. I went to Baylor, so Waco is just, it's honestly, like, they don't call it wacko for no reason. Like, people there are wacko. So I've been followed, like, in grocery stores and Michael's of all places, because I was getting, like, some freaking craft supplies, you know?
Yeah.
So the most that happened was, like, being followed in a store and just asking the cashiers to just walk you to your car. And once Sonia told me that Austin story when I lived in Austin, I was just always on high alert, but I lived downtown where it was mainly just, like, young professionals and, like, in a high rise, so it was a little bit more secure than just, like, open campus, you know? But we did have the homeless people that I would see every single day, literally, of my life. And Sonia's, like, tip for me at this point was to create, like, variance in your schedule. So never be doing the exact, don't do the exact same thing at the same exact time every single day. Switch it up. If you're going to work out one evening, work out one morning. If you're going to have lunch here one day, have it another place one day. And, like, come home at, like, odd hours so no one ever knows, like, your schedule and your whereabouts. So it's just, like, one tip that I literally kept in mind, like, even when I moved back to, like, the city.
That was something I got from True Crime podcasts.
Oh my gosh, okay, so this is why officially we need a palate cleanser after this.
Oh my God, I cannot
not wait.
Like, literally,
after this episode, I'm already ready. Like,
I'm foaming at the mouth.
No, exactly. Well, also, like, I'm ready for dinner and to have an ice cold Coca-Cola. If anyone knows me, you know I'm obsessed with Coke and I'll, like, treat myself on special days, and today's gonna be a special day. We're calm down. Yes. Okay, so what's our next question?
Discuss the choices that B and Meredith made in the car the night of the hit and run. Do you think B is a cold-blooded killer or a desperate woman with no other way out? Was Meredith as complicit as B? And I just want to say, she was a cold-blooded killer, because you know what they said in the book? I don't know if you, like, notated it in your brain, but when she ran over something and knew that she had ran something over, she reversed and went back over it. So even if she didn't know it was a human, she knew it was something, an animal, even a curb. Like, just why do you need to go back? Like, I just think that was really
put your tires on it, like, one more time. Like, as if someone wasn't dead, now they're officially dead.
Yeah. And then not only that, but then killing Meredith and then taking
and this is what I was going to say. Like, at the point where she was like, no, we have to bury Shelby's body, I was like, okay, she's being erratic and she's just nervous because she was drinking. She was actually drunk, in shock. Like, at this point, this is just the best that she's coming up with in her brain. And then the way that she buried her, like, took all the clothes from her body and made it seem like there was some sort of, like, sexual assault, like, with this. That's when I was like, this girl there's something in her brain.
That's
she's
not
ruthless,
right.
Cold-blooded killer. And then as soon as that happened, and there was no guilt. But
also, like, Meredith, like, she said whenever they were like burying the body and had to like transport it from the trunk to the woods, she would just like be so ungentle with it. That was the word that she used. She would just like throw the body and her head would just loll to one side. But even if you know someone is dead, like you're the one who killed them. Like have some respect for the body. And she just didn't care.
It's
and what Sarah was
another
saying,
human.
Yeah, she if the cops found the body, she wanted the cops to get off of the trace of them doing it and
or
go
just
after
any
a
woman
man.
In general. Yeah.
And so she just like ripped the clothes off the body to make it seem like she was assaulted. And it's like, have some decency. Like you killed this person and now you're just like doing something even more egregious. Like or not more egregious, but just something so awful. And then having no remorse and just she would tell Meredith like get it together and like making sure Meredith like went about her schedule. Like, are you not freaked out? Like, are you not scared? Can you?
And Meredith like at some point should be like, okay, well I see it in her eyes that she's just scared. But even that was like kind of hard to pull at, Yeah. Meredith was looking for those signs to be like, is she human? Does she have any sort of remorse, any guilt?
Yeah.
And she would just find like little glimpses of it. It wasn't even that.
No, if
she was shaken.
Yeah, if you weren't a cold-blooded killer, like you would have called the cops immediately and dealt with
the consequences
and what came next. And in like people who drink and drive, she literally was so drunk. She said that they were flying, okay, when they were on the road. Like you are already asking for something to happen to you, and that's on you. You did something messed up, and now like that's what happened. You killed someone. So just in the beginning, that was already a bad call. I already didn't like them because they got in the car drunk. So at the beginning, hate you. Okay.
Yeah. Also at kind of towards the beginning, they mentioned that B was very different than all of the suburban like couples that were there. Obviously, like they were in a lesbian relationship that was already a little bit different than like the town. They didn't have any kids. That was the second point. And then Kate was very much like
she was like normal.
She was and I don't want to say that B wasn't normal or Bay wasn't normal. She just was more, she came in cowboy boots. She was wearing like...
No, they said Doc Martens.
They were very specific. Yeah.
Everywhere.
So just different than the crowd that was actually living in the suburbs.
But like when authors say that, I'm always like, okay, she's describing them like that, but she's like the best girl, So it just turned out like she just had a darkness to her and like that's... It was right. It was being reflected in like what she was wearing and doing.
Her appearance.
Okay. Did you think Meredith was as complicit as B? No, right?
I say that she was complicit because she got in the car with the drunk person.
Oh, you're so right.
You're a mother. You have kids. There's
no innocent people on the road
and other people's children on the road.
You're so right.
You're complicit.
You're so right. Okay, listener questions. Mm-hmm. Thank you. The listener questions came to you directly.
Yes, they came to me directly.
Yes. So shout out to you guys. I'm literally so happy. And it's the first time we have listener questions.
But they read it like so much faster than us. So
Sarah was getting updates.
I was getting updates, and I think we both started it 2 days before we were recording the podcast.
I'm so happy I didn't drag this book out and only gave myself 2 days so I wouldn't have to suffer for longer. And now we're recording. It's done with.
You're ready for your romances. No, I started this in the worst setting for this book to be started.
Where did you?
I was literally at the spa. And I was in, so there's like a little like, the lounge room.
Yeah.
I'm sitting
like
there.
The most like beautiful, peaceful, calm, serene spot. They had like a whirlpool, a steam room, a sauna, a lounge room.
My favorite thing is to get the gummy bears and
I saw that in your
spicy
picture,
nuts.
And I was like, that's literally so Sarish to
have
gummy bears.
Everyone's going straight for like the lemon water and the chillness and the tea. I'm like, give me those gummy bears. Give me the red butterfly gummy bears every single time I'm
there.
I
get the spice nuts now and the lemon water.
Okay, so I mix it. I put the spice nuts at the bottom, and then I
saw that.
The butterfly gummy bears on top. So, yeah. Why am I starting this book at the Ritz Spa? Like, I don't know.
That was a bad call.
That was a bad call. I read the prologue, and then I read one chapter, which is when they were describing Delilah and this setting, and I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna put this down.
Yeah.
And I went to go put it back in my locker, and then I had a massage, and then I came back home, and I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna read this for the night because I'm way too relaxed.
Yeah.
So yeah, the setting wasn't right, but I agree with you. I'm so glad we did not drag this on. We were done in 2 days, and now I can just be happy-go-lucky in my life.
And February will be lighthearted,
yes,
romance
and we
book.
actually picked our February book, which we'll announce at the end of the podcast.
Yes. Okay, listener questions. How did Kate not know Delilah was being kept in her own garage? So Kate is B's wife, and they have the detached soundproof garage. And in the 11 years that Delilah was being held hostage there, Kate did not one time go into the garage. How? That was literally one of the plot holes. Like, this is your home, and I get it. She was saying, like, that's her office.
It's like
don't
studio
want to
space. Yeah.
It's still your garage, girl. Go inside.
Also,
check
like,
it out.
do you never like run out of space in your home and you're like, let me just put
She
this
said
in the
no.
garage?
She said that's how they explained it. She said all of our extra stuff fit into our guest room. So like we didn't, need it. She didn't need to go into it.
11 years though, like that is something
that's one of the things. It was a plot hole. There's no way like you wouldn't go there for 11 years.
Yes. And it's like when there's some people that have like hints of red flags that don't actually explore it because they don't want to know like what's on the other side. I wonder if Kate was a person like that, or she was just so oblivious and just
she was
busy
just so
with
oblivious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like to be that I don't care to be that kind of person. I'm hyper aware at all times.
Who did you think killed the 2 women and kidnapped Delilah? Did you have a theory?
I had a theory after we found out that Cassandra was the one texting Meredith all of the
like threatening messages,
and she's being followed, like she's watched over wherever she is. That's when I kind of made the connection that Cassandra's husband, he was cheating, just not with Meredith, but he was cheating with Shelby. God. And so he's connected to Shelby. He's connected to Meredith.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, you guys. So if you're a new listener, Sonia and I almost always come up with the same conclusion. So twins,
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was another connection that.
And that was who I thought. Yes, Marty. And that was kind of towards the middle of the book. And that's why I was like, what I thought was happening in the middle of the book and what happened at the end, so far off, like wildness. So that was my connection, where Cassandra was sending those threatening messages. She told Meredith why she ended up doing that, and I thought in the back end, when we didn't know about it, Cassandra probably confronted her husband, and her husband was like, I need to get rid of like these women. Yeah. Like something happened that like made him so erratic in behavior, and it led to that, and he was connected to both women, and so that's why I thought he would have done it. Yeah. But then they lead us in a completely different direction, and yeah.
That, oh my gosh, that's wild. I thought Cassandra had something to do with it, because after we found out that she was the one texting those crazy messages.
How would she know Shelby?
I don't know, but I just thought that was a really crazy thing to do. And I was like, this girl is not okay.
Yeah, and she would be married to someone who's also crazy. Like, crazy attracts crazy. So if they're both like that, like I mean, this is so like generic of me to think, like the man did it, you know? Like, that's what happened.
Yeah, the doctor thing just like didn't hold merit for me. No, I was waiting for them to pass it because it was just kind of annoying. Oh, and that was another thing, the graphic
of the OB like scene.
like just doing things without like consent, like letting the patient know. That was another, it was too graphic for me. Like gory, graphic, detailed things that I don't want to know about.
Did you ever think like, Kate pretended to be pregnant just to get an appointment with this doctor just to kind of suss him out. I hate when people lie about things like this because it's like,
why are you getting yourself into trouble for no reason?
People that attract trouble into their own life. Like, it's just not it, you guys. Like, let's not do that. Because that could have gone so wrong.
Yeah.
And thankfully you didn't, because Kate did nothing wrong in this. Like,
also, another thing was they told the cops way too late about their, like, sleuthing.
Well, in the book, it kind of feels like they're doing too much in like a large span of time. But we did find out it was like a day later. Like it was 24 hours later.
In an investigation, there's literally a statistic. Yes. If they're not found within
72 hours, right?
No, it's like if they're not found within 24 hours, or like 48 hours, like they're probably dead or something.
What?
Within 24 or 48.
I thought they don't even like report it as like a missing person for 72 hours.
No, I think that's 24 hours. You can't report within 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Or like you can report, but like they just
don't announce it as like a missing person. Okay, got it.
Then I want to say like 48. But it's like
time is of essence here, so like let's be speedy and let's give all the information that you have. I agree. But I also, in that scenario, now that we know that B was a part of it, like I wonder if she was stalling.
You know what my theory was? This was my theory. The couple, this was at the point where we didn't know that the Delilah in the book like wasn't the actual Delilah. Yes. And the couple that was like holding her,
hostage,
they sounded like an elderly couple. I think she had said that. So I thought that the babysitter had something to do with it. I thought the babysitter and her husband, because they have access to the kids, the adults, like I thought
that would have such a good theory.
That was my theory. But honestly, I think that would have been great if that's what it was. But for the next book, I guess.
For the next book. I hope she's listening.
I
love that. Well, those were a lot of the plot holes, not potholes.
Well,
that
the other
thought of.
plot holes that I was thinking of is, again, Shelby and her husband both cheating on each other, like, what? And then I actually like wrote down some.
Yeah, I sent you one that we got as a DM. Did you see that?
DM.
Yeah, like it was like it was right after a listener question.
Did you text it to me?
No, I like just said it out loud when I was giving you the questions from the reader.
You said, well, I read all of them, and then the last one was like, what were the plot holes? So that's what we're discussing.
Yeah.
But let me see. The plot hole, like I thought they would reveal why Meredith like needed, because there was literally a sentence where Meredith said, I need to protect my career. And I was just thinking, for what? Like, you're not in a corporate job. And I get, if you had a corporate job, like if you miss some years, it's hard to get back on and climb the ladder, whatever. If you're a doula, like you don't send out your resume, and like if there's a year gap where you didn't doula someone, like I don't think that's a problem. You're okay. No. So that was a plot hole to me. I thought they would like reveal something, like they were having issues or whatever, you know, like I didn't understand that. And then just like Meredith like not telling her husband, I thought they would reveal that Josh like wasn't that great of a guy.
Yeah.
Like she had a good reason to not tell her husband about the messages.
She had no
it's just
reason.
A lot of secrets that, and just people bringing like.
And I think at this point she said themselves. Like a couple of months she was keeping this to her chest. Like
it was from.
How?
It was from. I want to say like January.
Wow.
Because she gave, and she got those texts, I want to say in January, and she trusted Cassandra to not tell her husband about her and like Marty hooking up in college. And I just want to say, like, this woman still thinks you're sleeping with her husband. Why do you trust her to not tell your husband for months? Like, it literally didn't make sense. So I honestly thought like Meredith was just like,
and why wouldn't you just tell your husband and be like, hey, prove to this Cassandra woman that I'm never gone in the middle of the night or at 10 p.m. on an ice cream run or a run. Like, what? You have the proof right there and you don't want to take it. You want to now ruin a friendship. And with the possibility of also Cassandra going to your husband and ruining a relationship.
It didn't make sense. That was a
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Okay, Hollywood, do you want to do yours
Yes,
first?
I had Sonia write it down because we're recording on my phone. Okay. I can't look at yours, even though yours are at the top. Okay, so Meredith, in the book, Meredith had red hair and I think green eyes. She's beautiful in like an unassuming sense. And so for me, it is Mandy Moore with red hair.
She would just have to dye her hair.
But she gives me, yes, and she's done it before. And she gives me doula energy.
Oh.
She gives me doula yoga teacher like energy.
Yeah.
And I think, zen, but also chaotic in nature. Like she gives me that sort of split personality, I feel that. And then for Josh, her husband, which I don't like them as a couple, but Josh is such a special human. And I put Callum Turner. Is that how you say his name? Dua Lipa's fiance now. First of all, he's so handsome, and in the book, they could not stop saying how handsome Josh was, how personable he was, and just charismatic and like oozes like confidence. And that is Callum Turner for me.
Such a sweet person. He was in a movie that I watched. Now I can't remember. I want to say it was like the Dumbledore one.
Okay, I did not watch.
Fantastic Beasts of Dumbledore or something like that. And he was a really good actor. So
I literally know of him because of Dua Lipa. So thanks, Dua. B for me. This is going to be triggering for all of you guys. But B for me is Blake Lively.
Oh my God, I forgot that was your pick. LOL.
Even though I sided with her
she literally would never want to take a book role again.
No, I think she's done officially. But like... This movie would be very chaotic.
You're casting her as like a serial killer, like a crazy person. I know,
and this is again me trying to prove my point that I didn't say she was completely,
I gotcha.
Clear of everything that was said, but I was trying to like clear her name just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so my Meredith, I literally Googled like redhead actresses. It's Emma Stone. Because she was young. Yes. Yeah, she was young in the book. They were like early 30s.
Yes.
And then her husband, I chose Chris Evans, Josh, because I thought
I could not see Chris Evans as a dad.
What? No,
I guess I also can't see Callum Turner as a dad. Forget what I just said.
I feel like they would look cute as a couple, and I can just see him giving that, like, protective, nice husband energy to Emma Stone. Just being, like, so worried about her whereabouts. Like, is she okay?
I actually like Chris Evans as the husband, as Josh. I don't think I like Emma Stone. She doesn't give me doula vibes.
I feel that.
And
then B... Okay, I'm not like loving this choice.
Before this podcast, she was like, I kill this. I'm so good at the Hollywood segment.
B was my
least.
I don't know, my anomaly. Like, I don't know if she's the best. But she has that grungy vibe to her. Emma Roberts.
Yes.
Because she was in American Horror Story.
Oh, yes. And I heard she was really good in that.
She was. I watched one season and
isn't that actually scary?
Yeah, like really scary.
You just said you don't watch anything.
No. This was years ago, like season 1, like 2015, or like something.
No,
crazy.
I really like her. I think she
could definitely. I can see her like bearing a body in a movie.
I like that. I think that's actually the one that I like from your list.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay. Shall we do our ratings?
Yes.
And then we'll say the next.
Okay. I want you to go first because.
Okay, my Goodreads rating is a 3.
Goodreads?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm actually going to keep that same rating as my personal rating. Mm-hmm. Because for all of the aforementioned reasons, just like while reading it, having a pit the whole time, I wasn't enjoying myself for the most part. Like I liked the thrill and chase here and there, but just for the most part, like I like a quick death. I don't want people to be like captured for, like that's not what I want to read about. And honestly, I read that in another book and I'm literally scarred for life. And the fact that I couldn't DNF this and had to go through with it, I was really like mad at us for choosing this. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it as a 3.
Okay.
And honestly, I was thinking
your personal rating?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm like thinking, like, should it be a 2.5? Because I really did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I think your personal rating can be lower. So
let's go with 2.9.
Okay, got
it. Let me write that down we can have a rating, you know, for the Shelf Sisters.
Got it.
Sonia, 2.9.
Yikes. For my Goodreads, I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Only because, first of all, this should not be called a mystery in any sense of the word. It should be thriller and horror, honestly.
I kind of feel that.
This cannot be a mystery. Like,
mystery?
It's
like you're cozying up to the fire and wanting to
mystery was like God of the Woods, and it's not.
Yeah,
this is not. This is a thriller. This is horror, and for that reason, I guess it's a good horror because it's, even though I would never read a horror book or watch a horror movie, it still kept me.
I will say, I think people that actually read horror, like if they read this, they would definitely say it's like light horror.
No, I can't take more horror than this. Like,
no,
this
same.
was like
I'm
the
just
extent of what I could read. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Goodreads 4 because I think like it still kept me. I don't even want to say entertained. I wasn't entertained. I just was interested for Josh to find like some sort of a calm like life after all of this chaos. So it's a 4 for me on Goodreads. My personal rating, I think I would give it a 3, 5, 3.
3. 3. Okay.
Yeah, the writing was okay. I think the reason why I'm still like in the 3s with this is because with a thriller, I like when I don't know exactly what the end is going to be like. And when I say in the middle, I really thought Cassandra, her husband, were kind of like a part of this and that's how it would end. And that is the exact opposite of what happened. I'm glad that I didn't sense what was coming. So for that reason, it's still in the 3s for me. Like it's not in the 2s.
Okay.
But I cannot read another horror book like this. But as a book selection for a book club, I think we did a good job.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, so our Shelf Sisters rating is a 3.1.
Wow.
So
sad.
It's okay. We've had many a great books, and
we're
and
honestly, like if you love reading thriller, horror, borderline horror books, this is for you. Like it is
true.
So good.
We're just because not fully those people.
No, just because we are like cautious human beings and just like always scared, nervous. This is not good for our anxiety. But for others that love this sort of thrill and would not mind the goriness of some of the descriptions, this book is definitely for you.
Yeah.
But to switch gears into the happiest month of February.
Yes.
I'm very excited for our selection. And this book,
let me pull up.
In 2024, it was the talk of book talk, book talk, whatever you say. And we saw it everywhere. People were giving it pretty high ratings. Even then, I did not go look at the summary of this book. And so I still don't know what it's about. And I will read the summary after we announce this as our February book club pick. But I also think it's going to be a really good conversation piece for February.
Okay.
You read? If you're on YouTube, Sonia's making either a disgusted face.
I am reading the description now.
Oh no!
And I'm not sure I'm living it.
Wow.
So, like, I don't know what.
So, do you want to wait to announce
Let's wait to announce.
Wow.
And let me tell you why.
Okay.
In the description.
Can I see it?
Yeah. So she already has a husband, and they're like taking this like that's not. I'm trying to read like a romance. This is. She's already there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I would have just announced it, but I think we, not just me and Sarish, the listeners and readers deserve a light fare from us. Don't you agree?
Okay, I agree that this is not the exact
Not the exact book that we want. So you know what? Let's take a beat.
This episode will be dropped on Thursday, and we'll announce our February book club pick by Friday on our Instagram at Shelf Sisters Podcast if you're not following us there.
Yes.
And then Shelf Sisters on TikTok. But
I'm so glad I just like read it real quick while you were talking.
Yeah.
Because it's better to do it now, even though we thought we would announce and not have to deal with a book that we don't like and we don't want to make people
and we
read
honestly
stuff.
just wanted to give you guys a full month to read the book because we understand 2 weeks is a little bit of a short timeline, a tight timeline.
But we do, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see it like well in advance.
Yes.
But yeah, if you read the book with us, we hope you enjoyed.
We hope you're not so traumatized like us. But if you are, send us a little DM. Let us know what you thought about our January book club pick.
Yeah.
And then if you have more suggestions.
Do a little poll. Like, if you read it, did you like it? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll do something like that for sure. But send us a DM if you have recommendations for February. Something light, something fun, something flirty, some romance in there. We would love to hear it.
Yes. Okay, so we'll announce ASAP.
Sorry, ASAP. No, but until our next bookish episode of February,
See ya. Bye.